If you look at coin market cap, you'll see that, the overall market cap really hasn't changed. So how were we able to make trades that were highly profitable over the weekend? What is going on, peeps? Welcome back to the Traveling Crypto. If this is your first time on the channel, go ahead and subscribe if you find this video valuable and you like the content on the channel. Also hit that notification bell. It goes a long way. So let us kick things right off with talking about Bitcoin's analysis. Now, there isn't much that has changed in terms of my overall bearish outlook for Bitcoin because we are still within this. If we take a step back, we're still within this descending triangle that has been going on really since the end of January. And this is as clear as it gets. There really isn't any respite from this or any sign that we're going to break away from this. And then if we take a more granular look at what has been going on recently, you'll see that this is a classic bear flag, which is a bearish pattern within a bearish pattern. The three EMAs, this is the 50, 100, and 200. They're essentially upside down, meaning they're flipped, right? You have the 200 first, which means that the 200-day outlook is much better than the 100, much better than the 50. So it just goes to show that this is essentially stating that over the long term, things are as bearish as they seem, right? And there isn't really any sign of breaking away from this. Now, if you go really long term and you're measuring over years, yes, you can prove, or not prove, but you can hypothesize through Elliott waves and whatnot that, which part of the corrective wave are we in, or are we on the verge of another impulse, etc. But, taking a look at 2018, there is no sign that we are going to reverse. Now, obviously, if we get to this resistance again and we break that with good volume, then we could start talking about a reversal. We'll get to the altcoins that we made a killing on over the weekend, but one of the things that we were doing all weekend, and I started sending out trade alerts for shorts, by the way. If you look at our Discord, that is where all the trade alerts are sent. There is now a channel for shorts. Now, it goes without saying that shorts are highly speculative, and you should be careful because you can lose your shirt really easily shorting, much more so than trades on the open market. Essentially, you're dealing with the phenomenon of a liquidation price, and you can get liquidated beyond your control if the exchange deems it necessary based on the price of the current asset. So I don't want to get into shorts. I'll make a separate video on that, but we did open a shorts channel on the trade alerts. If you want, link is in the description. BitMex has a really great test net that you can use play money, basically, if you're just starting out with shorts and you're not really sure about the concept, and you can mess with it till your heart's content. Link for that is in the description as well. All right, back to BTC. So essentially, if we look on the 1 hour chart, all weekend, BTC has been testing the high 6,700s, even getting up to close to 6,800. And every time it did that so many times that, by Saturday night, it was pretty easy to see the momentum that Bitcoin was in. And you could see how abysmal the volume was, right? The volume is the number one indicator that I look for when justifying whether a certain move up or down is legit. So, with all these rallies here, these mini rallies that you see on the 1 hour chart, these weren't backed by great volume. And every time that Bitcoin tested the high 6,700s, I would enter a short for 25x. Again, if you don't know what that is, I don't recommend you do this without practicing and reading up first. But essentially on 25x, just a 3% decline in Bitcoin's price, so say it goes from 6,800 to 6,600, you can easily make 75% gains on those small moves. I'm not going to go ahead and short now that it's Monday because the bulls might feel inspired, and the weekend trading, there's a lull in weekend trading anyway. And I typically look for a significant number of retests of a high before entering in short-term short positions. All right, that is it on Bitcoin. Now let me get into the coins that we made a killing on over the weekend. If you look at coin market cap, you'll see that the overall market cap really hasn't changed. So how were we able to make trades that were highly profitable over the weekend? Well, it's because crypto has a phenomenon where alts are traded with Bitcoin. So the overall market cap could stagnate, right? But alts priced against Bitcoin could rally majorly, and we saw that. So we'll get into the three right now, Substratum being the first one. So if you look at Substratum over the weekend, there was a 47% incline before retracing back down to the levels that it's at currently at around 2789, 2790 sats. Now you're probably saying to yourself, how did you find the bottom and the top? Well, we didn't. What you're looking for basically is a breakout from a bullish pattern, right? So here you see a symmetrical triangle and a breakout from that triangle, and it was supported by extremely good volume on the breakout. So how do you know when to sell? Well, in my opinion, you want the market to decide for you. I don't want to sell prematurely. So what I do is, as the price is rallying, I keep moving my stop limit up, and this is called a trailing stop. Binance doesn't have this inherently, but you can use a third-party program such as 3 commas or something, or you could do it like I do it, and just, you know, if you have the time, you could do it manually. So as the price rises, I keep moving my stop limit up, and you can move it to something tight like minus 2.5% or minus 4% in order to protect all of these gains that you have made. And the higher, the more profit that you have, see in this case, you know, we're up 47%. The more profit you have, the more liberal you can get with your stop limit, because you're up so much in terms of percentage gains that you don't mind risking more in order to possibly catch the next wave if it keeps rallying, right? So initially you might set a minus 2% or minus 2.5%, but then once you get up to, you know, if you're up 47%, you might, you know, set even a minus 10% stop limit. And again, the beauty about this is that you're selling back into BTC. This is priced against BTC, meaning you're gaining more cheap Bitcoin. So you don't essentially have to, you know, cope with the decision of whether to buy Bitcoin now or hold or whatever. Essentially, you're gaining more Bitcoin on the cheap because these alts are rallying heavily against Bitcoin. So you're entering into positions in Bitcoin really cheaply, and you don't really have to grapple with the decision of trading Bitcoin independently. The other coin that we made a killing off of was ICX. So if you look at the trade alerts, again, link is in the description, you'll see that we put out a trade alert for ICX. And here you'll see that we drew a rectangular channel and said, watch out for this. There is significant volume coming in. And if it breaks from this rectangular channel, then we will, you know, obviously we'll see a breakout and we can justify opening a position at the breakout. So going back to the chart, here is the channel that we were talking about. Here is where we entered at the breakout. And you'll see that ICX over the weekend, it rallied 54%. But since the breakout, it rallied 27 and change, which is not bad. And again, you see a retracement, obviously, because the bulls get exhausted. So what do you do in that case? Again, you set a trailing stop limit in order to protect your profits. We'll talk about the last coin, which was Nano. So you'll see Nano, there was a golden cross. Well, it's not the golden cross because this is the 50 and the 100, not the 50 and the 200. But we see that that the 50 crossed above the 100. There was insanely good volume coming in, really good momentum on the oscillator indicators. There wasn't any bearish divergence. And we essentially had formed a bull flag here on the 4-hour chart. I'm going to draw it really sloppy just for quickness sake. But essentially, there was a bull flag formed on the 4-hour chart. And we said if we broke out from that, especially the fact that the 50 crossed over the 100 and we have great volume, then we will start entering positions. Now, Nano saw, I mean, if you're going to trace the true rally that Nano saw going all the way back to here, you know, we're almost 300% up on Nano. And again, same thing on Nano. You'll see this huge retracement here now because the bulls get exhausted. But once the price keeps rallying, you can set a trailing stop and be more liberal with your stop the more that you gain. So those are the 3 coins that I really wanted to go over and show you, you know, how it is that we decided to play those or pick those over the weekend. And really, they're all just breakouts from bullish patterns on the shorter term increment charts with good volume, looking at things like the oscillator indicators, like the moving averages. And this just goes to show you that you can profit in a bear market. You can profit even when the market cap stays relatively stagnant, right? Because you are profiting in BTC. So what we're doing is picking up more cheap BTC. Now, you can take that BTC and, set a stop limit for the BTC that you've just accumulated to go into fiat or into Tether if and when we see a bearish breakout to the downside from, say, something like this bear flag. But it's all up to you and your risk profile and your max loss capacity, etc. All right, jumping into the news, there weren't too many news stories today, but there is something that I wanted to touch on real quick. It says U.S. Customs and Border Protection to test blockchain shipment tracking system. Now, this is one of the real world use cases that I think blockchain will emerge into first. And that, besides the currency aspect of crypto, and that is the use case of supply chain management, tracking where things are moving to and from, where they originated from. Because of blockchain's immutable characteristic, you'll be able to tell whether something is real or fake, whether, food items are safe, what farm they were sourced from, etc. And you have a number of great development teams and crypto projects that are in this sphere, right? You have Walton Chain, you have VChain, you have Wabi, you have Origin Trail. All of these are meant to track the supply chain, right? Like point of origination, where these products are being shipped to, etc. And I think from my standpoint that will be the real first mass adopted use case for blockchain, even before using crypto as a currency itself. Anyway, that is it for today. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. If you want access to the trade alerts, link is in the description. Link is also in the description for BitMex if you want to play around with their test platform. Leave a thumbs up and a comment. Hit up the Discord if you want to get a hold of me. That's the easiest way to get a hold of me. Stay safe out there. Peace.